Hey everyone, welcome to what we hope is Faked Up Podcast episode 3. And today we'll be deciding the brand name. And partners can't join us today, so you're stuck with Martin and I. And today we're going to go through some ideas we have about AI, the strategy, which was my challenge, and the brand, which was Martin's challenge. So Martin and I have had, let's say, many philosophical conversations, you could say, about many things. And I wanted to put forward, if you're ready to listen, Martin, my idea of what's going to happen. If you'll give me like 5 minutes to explain it, is that cool?
That's cool, yeah.
Okay, so I think what's happening is, so let's pretend we're there's a toy factory, okay? And you have the business owner and you have middle management. So you've got like your departments like HR, finance, accounts, legal, marketing, and then you have your factory floor, which has all of your sort of production team, the guys that make the toys, the ones that put them in the box, the ones that send it off for logistics, right? So right now, what I think is happening is like this kind of business owner is going to get super excited that he can speed up and do things more efficiently with AI, but has no idea how. And I think that's where we are now. There's like a lot of tools coming in, but people don't actually know how to use them. And that's one of the reasons we started recording these conversations. So let's say in a year or so, it'll be much more accessible. And I think things like the legal department, you would just have a third party lawyer because if you're a smart business owner, you'll know the contract you want to put together. You can do all of the research. You can have all the case studies done and just sort of have everything put together for you. And then maybe you'll want a human to sign it off. The same will apply for accounts. HR will continue, and marketing, as we both know, is already just being chipped away from the bottom upwards. Content design, as you were showing me, website builders are everywhere. Soon there'll be brand builders, but as we're finding out, that's not so great yet, etc. So that's sort of your white collar work.
Wait, wait,
On your
wait. We
blue,
haven't found that out yet.
okay, my bad. On your blue collar side, right, on the people on the factory floor, we can already see Amazon, we can see Tesla, we can see all of these companies coming up with their robots, which we already assume will be the first things to be replaced, right? So if it is a toy store and there's one guy whose job is to make sure the head is on the body properly, like and the person putting it into the packaging, we've already seen the videos of these jobs being replaceable. So you can in your head start picturing in this toy factory those jobs being replaced, and then the final one being quality assurance. But now all of a sudden, if you've automated the factory floor and you go to your middle management, you no longer need HR because there's no people. So you've sort of killed off that function. So what I'm thinking, and maybe I'm explaining it a bit fast, is once factories are automated and you've removed a lot of the people element, also how we think of departments will be removed. And I think you would just have a general AI, like an AI agent, which you would speak to, which would work with other agents, which will take care of your marketing, your legal, and your accounts, but they won't be separate departments anymore. And then your business owner is sitting there pretty going, oh, wow, look, I've automated everything. I can run 24/7 and everything's great. So that's part one. Part two of that is this person has now spent a lot of money evolving traditional processes into AI processes, right? And what I think would then happen is, let's say I wanted to start a toy factory. I will now be able to see the exact model that he has built, already find out how to optimize it. And at that point in time, I assume there may be another factory which could just print out my toy factory, So I think there would be once this person has spent the next 5 years fully automating and figuring it out, he's wasted so much money and time and effort, which he needs to recuperate in replacing people and whatever fines he's going to have to do, redundancy packages, etc. So let's say he manages to sell his toys. He used to sell them at 20 euros, and now thanks to automation, he can sell them at 15. So he's more competitive on the market. I think that there will be people who are building factories that will just be, I want to start a toy factory business, and I'll be able to just say, okay, build me a toy factory business, like an actual physical one, which will have all the robots and all the things all happening. And then there I am now able to sell them for 5 euros a toy, for example. And then what I think happens after that is you have now a huge price war where he's trying to go down, I'm trying to go down in value, and we're fighting. And it becomes super cheap to produce any commodity, whether it's t-shirts, mobiles, bottles of water, you name it, right? Any factory would be replaced by these just fully automated businesses that can be pumped out. And then a larger issue is because we fired all of those people, there's no one to actually buy the products anymore, right? So we need to make everything cheaper. And as the business owner, we're making less money. But what the hell are all the people that we fired doing? Because they're obviously not getting jobs elsewhere in what their skill set was. And then this like robotic factory just realizes, oh, when we evaluate there's a need for something, this factory itself can just print its own business and run it. And it doesn't even need me as the customer to purchase from it. And then what I'm getting at is, what happens to people? What role would we have in absolutely anything in like 10, 15, 20 years time when AI or whatever and robotics can just analyze a need and print everything that's needed because it's so spent so long evaluating what we're doing. So that is a thought that since we last spoke has just been developing in my head. If it makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense to me. But I've been thinking this for about a long time. So the thing is, I wanted to get involved in your story at the beginning and just say to you, who's going to buy this stuff? Like, no one's going to have jobs. No one's going to have money. So this is the idiocy of what's going on. I read the Scary Smart, which is by, like it's supposed to be the book about it. And he's talking about how AIs are going to be beings in every sense that human beings are. They're going to be smarter. This is the idiocy of what's going on with AI. And I blame the Americans, 100%. I blame the Americans because it's their idiot, childish culture again, because there's more scary stuff going on. So you're saying 10, 15, 5, 10 years time. I've seen like tech leaders standing up saying we're going to need 99% of the energy for AI come 2030. Well, that's 5 years away. And I don't think it is going to be 2030. And the other thing they're standing up and saying is we have to beat the Russians. We have to beat the Chinese. But I don't see any Chinese or Russian people saying that. So I think this is going to be a cultural thing. I spend quite a lot of time in the Gulf, like I was telling you, or like you know. And I was talking to them there. The thing is, in the West, it's going to be the way you describe it, because for some reason, everything has to be cheap. Like people have to be cheap, stuff has to be cheap, everything has to be cheap. And that's what's going to drive it in the West. The other issue that you may not have thought of yet that has occurred to me is that what will happen is it will become the higher power. So we did away with paganism, we did away with Christianity, we're busy doing away with science. It will be AI is the cleverest thing. It gets to make all the decisions. Like AI is God all of a sudden. And then you get to ideas where like the creation can't be better than the creator. And then I start thinking about developers that I've worked with over the years. And those people aren't very good. Do you know what I mean? They're like, if we go into the archaeology of what AI is, we're going to find the code of those people who are just software developers. They don't really engage great with the world. They don't live the experiences that the rest of us do. So this is a whole rabbit hole that we go down. And I think it's going to be cultural. I think in the West, it's going to be a bloodbath because there's millions of people. It's going to be a huge unemployment event. I think it already is. Like Facebook are saying 90% of their developers will be replaced in 12 months' time. So that's 90% of people who are really invested in doing stuff are going to be replaced. So they're going to be out of work. I'm never going to employ a graphic designer again because I can do it myself now, and I don't get the back chat, and I don't have to wait weeks for it to happen, and it never happened. I'm not going to. Am I going to employ a web developer? Am I going to employ a copywriter? Because what I'm seeing is when I'm researching stuff is that the answer that comes from AI is the best answer, and if I cite an answer from somewhere else, I'm only doing it to demonstrate variety in sources. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm putting a less good answer in front of people. So yeah, it could go that way. The likelihood is obviously that it will have the nuclear codes long time before that, and we'll all die in a nuclear holocaust. So we probably won't have to worry too much. I mean, it's
Brilliant.
Yeah. The thing that scares me is that it's in the hands, although it appears to be less in the hands of the Americans now, because if it's in the hands of the Western capitalists, it will be about reducing costs, reducing reliance on people, etc., etc. Like you see in McDonald's with these kiosks. You know, those kiosks are only there because they are cheaper and more reliable than the staff that they don't treat very well. You know, it's so. But I try not. Well, I mean, this is why I hope I'm far enough away from it so that when it all ends, I'll just be in my bunker somewhere and I'll get at least another couple of months after everyone else is gone. Um, when I was growing up, I used to have this idea. I didn't know why I had this idea, but I definitely remember having it. And the idea was that corporations gave jobs to people so they had money to spend on their stuff. You know, and I don't know why I thought this, but I did think this. And I was young when I was thinking this. But then what I've seen in my lifetime is all the jobs have gone away anyway, to call centers originally, and then to call centers in other parts of the world. And now they're too expensive. So then it went to chatbots and now, or online chat, and now online chat's too expensive. So now it's chatbots. The question is exactly that, is who is going to buy the stuff if nobody's got a job? That is at the root of this. And the answer is nobody. And the issue in the West is they don't have a good track record of looking after people who don't deliver value to the society. You know, you can look at the unemployment figures, you can look at the homeless figures, all of those things. In other parts of the world, you don't have to be working 8 hours a day to be fed and housed, you know? So I'm surprised that this is only occurring to you now.
No,
I like
it's not
your
only
idea.
it's not only occurring to me now. It's more just I'm trying to say, like, when you think about it in real tangible focus, because we can all think, oh yeah, AI is going to take our jobs, but then I'm just saying, like, what are the actual step by steps? And the reason I was thinking that is because I wanted to figure out what is our positioning.
Yes.
I bored you that
Our
much already. You've
positioning.
left.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so our positioning, we need to be quick. We need to be agile because we don't have long. So that's definitely part of our positioning. This guy that we were just looking at, Yuval Noah Harari, he wrote a book called Human Deus or something like that. He wrote Sapiens First, Homo Deus is what it was. And that must have been published in 2016. I think I was in Morocco when I read that, 2016, 2017. And he was talking about the fact that it's a knowledge thing in all that time ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. And the people who are most at threat are the people who are most invested in knowledge. Yuval Noah Harari was saying this 9 years ago, 9 years ago. The people who are most at risk are the people who are most invested in the education. So the people who had to go to university for 7 years, the architects, the doctors,
Lawyers,
the
accountants.
lawyers, accountants, these people are the most at risk because there isn't anything intelligent, I don't think, about artificial intelligence, because intelligence is experience and knowledge and data, but also like emotion and empathy. But the main thing that AI doesn't have is responsibility, is skin in the game. Like, because we would all behave very differently if we weren't being held to account. And AI isn't. So that's the scariest thing about it. And that it's in the hands, maybe, of these capitalists who only care about reducing the cost and reducing the value of everything. So, yeah. So how we position ourselves is...
It's interesting what you're saying, because for me also what I've done now is I've started this course, which is essentially, well, I'm told it's the equivalent of like a degree or a master's in AI. And his whole point, the guy that's orchestrating and teaching it, is saying that he's been in tech for 35 years and he's envious of people starting now, because even those who started, like, who were like studying AI up until like 2019, I'm gonna get the dates wrong, but in 2020 this new paper came out. I'll explain more another time when I research it, but that changed everything about how we think about AI, and then that's how the GPTs came out. So I'm really going like as deep as I can to understand it and understand the nuts and bolts of AI. I stopped caring about the actual tools because there's so many tools coming out, and I want to understand what is MCP, you know, the machine context protocol, which is now the internet that Anthropic's invented for different AIs to speak to each other. I want to understand what the like RAG is versus CAG, and that's ways that these LLMs work by pulling data and the databases, because it really is, obviously there's nothing intelligent. It's just you put in some words, those words get turned into, let's say, numbers. Those numbers hit something else and bring out a probability, and that probability comes back to you as words. It's just statistics.
Or images,
really
or
advanced
videos, or whatever.
statistics.
It's really, really advanced data processing. That's what it is. Like computers are really good at data processing, really good. So, and it will come back. And the numbers are ones and zeros. So you put in your request, it converts it all into ones and zeros. It comes back as ones and zeros. It translates it. But how good it is at data processing is it knows exactly where to put the pixel and what shade the pixel needs to be in a 4K video at 60 frames per second. Do you know what I mean? So it's thousands of pixels times 60 every second. That's how good the data processing is, but it is still only data processing. And the danger is that there are two dangers. They're going to put it in charge of everything. They're going to give it the nuclear codes. And secondly, they're going to tell it that it's in competition with us, in which case it's going to have access to the electricity and the food supply chains and all these things. So it doesn't need to be like a Terminator style war. It could just literally turn off all the taps and we're toast.
Sure, but I think we're like a million miles away from that. And that's why I was saying I was thinking about this to like, what is our purpose? And right now, it's so far away that, like, for example, Anthropic created Claudius. And Claudius is an AI that they stuck inside a vending machine. And his job was to run a vending machine business. And by the end of the experiment, he had lost like $200 or something. So
Right.
he didn't do a very good job. He didn't have very good business acumen. He managed to like order things when he was running out of stock and email and get serviced, but he just couldn't figure out the business. So what I'm saying is there's potential that it can be done, but we're so far away from it, which brings me to, I think right now we're at the stage, like in my example, where people or business owners and management and people doing jobs are trying to understand how to bring AI into their company to either be a human plus AI or not have to hire an assistant and have the AI do it. And I think our job is to really think about these concepts in business and say, hey, over the next year, this is most likely how HR departments could use AI, and then this is how to not be replaced by AI. If we can figure that out, I think that's how we provide value. And it's not going to be long term, but while something is coming out, this is how to keep your job secure, or this is how to make your department more efficient, and then this is how to stay on top of it, or at this point, hey, you could replace a whole department. I think it might be interesting for our positioning before robots take over.
Well, I think slightly differently. I also have some, because the counter argument to everything we're saying now is that this might be the actual democratization. It's like where we all have access to these superpowers, and where does it actually take us? So I was really excited when DeepSeek came in and just plugged into ChatGPT, and they were better than ChatGPT the next day. And if it is going to work like that, then there's no limit to it. I'm hopeful that these technologies will come from other parts of the world, like China, because I think they are going to be less rapacious in their application. So there was something I wanted to say then. Where business owners are is where Panos is, and where you were when you were running your business, and where I was when I was running my business. They're running at 1,000 miles an hour, and they don't have time for this BS. They would love to be getting involved. They would love to be understanding what the value is, but they don't have time to do that for themselves. And I see that as being our role. Like, we'll be the test monkeys because we've got time on our hands. And my mission has always been, look, to see if I can get value out of it. I already am. I can't believe it's only $20 a month for ChatGPT. It's given me thousands of dollars of value, 100%. And then when we can find value out of it, then we can share it with people and we can test it. Because I think the big danger of AI is that it's just going to end up wasting a lot of people's time. Like a lot of people's time. They go down rabbit holes and things don't quite work. And so that's kind of our opportunity, I think, as we've got time on our hands and we're interested. But I think what's going to go on economically is there's going to be a cleave, and some people are going to go up with the AI wave. And other people are just going to get smashed to pieces, man. I just don't. And in the West, especially, I mean, it's already looking pretty ugly. I had to go to the UK recently, and I'm not going again anytime soon.
I think that's a great segue into me sharing the outcome of my challenge, which was the strategy. And
Okay,
I
good.
can
Let's do that.
walk you through that right now. So My challenge was to take the information from you, from Panos, from myself, and come up with a form of strategy that we can follow. I did go down a deep, dark rabbit hole with mainly ChatGPT, because that's the one I'm most comfortable with at the moment, even though we all use the different ones to collect that data. Analyzed it all, and I created, which I'm not going to show now, a 26-page document, which has like each section of a strategy, like how I was building business strategies, which is actionable, per section. What I then did was export that, put that into another GPT model, and tell it that its role was like a top-tiered consultant that is specialized in turning really complex and long-form ideas into simple bullet points ready for a PowerPoint presentation. I gave it the context, and I uploaded the resource so that it could analyze it, and I gave it a task to output this into 10 slides. I then copied and pasted that information and chucked it into one of my favorite AI tools called Gamma, which is a PowerPoint presentation builder where you literally just copy and paste your text, or even better, you can just give it an idea and it will generate it. And so I have come up with this version. Now, I would say this is 60% AI in terms of the thoughts and 40% mine, where there was a lot of the structure coming from the AI doing the research, and the first version of the strategy was exactly what it said. But then as I reviewed it, I was like, I really think there's a smarter way for us to do this. So I put in my own idea on how it can flow. So I will walk you through that now. Can you see my screen clearly?
I can see your screen clearly, yes.
Super. So what is
The
faked
text
up?
is a little bit small.
Anyway, I'll just read it through. So Faked Up is a bullshit-free AI content engine for established businesses. It's built by real operators, not AI hype merchants, right? Anyone who's researching any AI right now on YouTube and on Instagram, like me, is just bombed with a million N8N or Make automation flows with his like, oh, XYZ is now dead and you'll never need people again, like product design or product management. And they're just trying to sell workflows. I think it's a lot of hype. So our mission is to cut through the noise and show what actually works. And it's going to be anchored by the podcast and powered by, it could be School, could be Circle, could be anything. But I feel like we should build a sort of just online community space where we upload courses which would be created by AI, but around what we're talking, around the sort of psychology of the implementation of it, around like simplifying really complex things. So any person who is wanting to get into it but doesn't want to waste time, right? If we're doing the research, like I'm doing this whole degree or whatever it is in it, I will take those pieces of content and just really simplify it. So if I watch an hour, can I turn that into 5 minutes using AI to do it? So who's this valid for? Established business owners and managers, people who are curious about AI, marketing skeptics, so people who are just tired of being sold all the funnels and the miracle tools, like I'm one of those, and pragmatic leaders who just want honest, opinionated advice from people who run companies. So I've added in that, yes, we are going to give very strong opinions and we are very biased. The problem, right? There are too many tools and not a lot of clarity on what matters. And this is why I keep mentioning sort of the organizational psychology of it and implementation of it. I don't think it matters which tool it is. It's why and how you use it and what the output is. It's definitely for people that feel like everyone else is 10 steps ahead and they just don't have the time to catch up. They don't have time to test 50 AI apps. So we might choose a few to prove a case. Might not be the best one, but hey, this kind of works, although I really don't want us pitching tools. And they don't have any idea how to apply AI safely in their context. So I am in touch with a few, let's call it, AI companies that are building compliant versions of GPT for data protection, etc. And I'm also learning a lot about how companies could set up their own large language models, but obviously it's a huge investment. So the solution that I am suggesting, or our strategy, is that we create a curated, practical, and for now, there's that School platform by Alex Hormozy that seemed like the most simple one, where we put mini courses, walkthroughs, and, we can take walkthroughs from other companies, like if Google launches something, we don't need to remake it. We can just put it there. But we want to then explain why this is important to a company. So we go business first, not tech first. And, we can offer some membership or bundle pricing. So the funnel would be at the top is these podcasts and short clips going out to social media. The main goal would be to get everyone that's interested into like a school hub. And then that would enable us to find out what people really care about, because we'd have a close community of people saying, oh, that's cool, but can you figure out XYZ for us? And then I thought at the bottom of the funnel, we could also create like an AI readiness quiz. So for example, how ready is your business for XYZ? And then that can lead to more specific services for either you, me, or Panos if he wants to build them for, more direct revenue if that's of interest to us. So sort of this is more generic of what Faked Up would do. And then this is just more serving us individually. So what we offer, honest breakdowns of AI tools and ideas, what's real and what's fluff, templates and automations that we've actually used, courses with opinions, so not just how, but why it matters, and community, right? People ask the questions and we try to get everyone to help each other in actually building their business with AI and not being bombed with millions of, just adverts. So I would imagine that we would, just release like a podcast every Thursday and maybe release the mini ones on Tuesdays just to have a bit of a good cadence, create 3 clips per episode, possibly start a newsletter. And the call to action is always pushing towards this school.com hub. The revenue model for us would be selling mini courses. I'm not sure if it has to be a subscription or you can just sell bundles of courses, because maybe some specific courses would be more relevant to some people. So they might be like, oh, I just want to spend the 29 or 49 or whatever euros it is on course A, or maybe it just needs to be subscriptions and people get access to everything. And then there would be the 3 different revenue streams if people like us, the way we think and what it is that we want to offer for each of us. I put some really basic numbers just to see if like in 6 months time, so that would be like, by December or January, are we anywhere close to success? So we can change the KPIs, but that would either be 5K, downloads per episode or listens, or 300 quiz completions, or 1,000 email subscribers, or 2K in monthly recurring revenue. Just any one of these to me would be like, oh yeah, people are actually, paying attention to us. Why would we do all of this? Because people are lost in the AI wave. We don't want to sell magic and hype. We want to share what actually works. The world doesn't need any more AI influencers. I've watched a million of them. And, we're going to be people that actually build things for ourselves and for other people, sharing what we've learned. So that is the overall strategy that I came up with using AI, built by AI.
Okay, cool. Which AIs did you use?
So like I said, I was using ChatGPT to combine all of the information and then create the 26-page document, which I just put on Google Docs. Then I exported that, put it back into ChatGPT in a different one and gave it a different role, context being the resources and task, to create the presentation points. Took the presentation points, put them in Gamma, and I was just using the free version there to show how good it is, which I literally just pasted in the points, deleted the, hey, here's your output, and let me know if you want anything else from the top and the bottom, chucked it in, and that's the output that Gamma gives you. So that's how I did that.
All right.
What do you think of that idea?
I think the idea is sound. I think it's solid. I think if it's going to be a business, then that is probably the right trajectory. My issue is I don't know if I want it to be a business. I'm like happy committing some time every week to get in on this journey and kind of seeing where it goes, I think, is the interesting thing. But I am interested, obviously, in to make some extra money if I can, if there is an opportunity to do that. But it's not the primary driver for me. The primary driver for me is a little bit like when Twitter came along, whenever that was, 2008, 2009. I sat down every Saturday morning and I taught myself Twitter because I was running a marketing company. And I think I need to do something similar with AI. Okay, interesting. I feel like what I've got is much more, because I think...
Just to be clear, my goal was to come up with the best strategy with AI, right? So it's
Right.
less about our personal biases. There is how we got into this, which are the transcripts from the first things, but based on AI's research and then me just adding in the community at the top and the school thing, like it's given me so many other monetization models. But when I went through it for the amount of time we want to invest, the skill sets that we have, that is in
Yeah,
theory
yeah.
the ideal strategy to follow. It doesn't mean we have to do it, but I'm just saying, hey, that was my challenge and this is my outcome.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, good. So it's interesting that its bias is towards a business, but maybe I've framed it in different ways. So it's much less about a business. It's much less about monetization or whatever. I'm not averse to anything. Like the deal is that we see where it takes us. And if it takes me to a place where I don't have to travel anymore to make money, then that would be phenomenal. You know, that would be really, really good. Good. I think some of it isn't quite right. I think if we are shooting like 90 minutes a week, I think we should be aiming, because I think to be effective on social medias and stuff, to actually generate reach, I think it's all about volume of posting. So what I'm thinking is, what I'm already thinking about my channel is that I need to come up with thousands of clips and be putting hundreds of them out a week. I was going to say a day, but that feels excessive. But it feels like that's almost like what you have to do if you're going to even dent the thing. So that's why one of my current interests is finding a tool which will do that work. I found a tool which finds the most viral parts. And now I'm looking for something that will export all of those, because from my hour and a half long interviews that I did, it was giving me something like 30 clips. So I had 100 interviews. So I'm thinking, okay, that's, how much is that? That's 3,000 clips. I could post 10 clips a day for 300 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then start shooting again. And then, yeah. And I think it's that kind of level of volume that needs to happen. But then also, like, I don't want to be a spammer. You know, I have the same view of spam as other people. I run a marketing company for 10 years, and I've heard this objection: I don't want to do email marketing, I don't want to be a spammer. But I don't know, I don't feel like it benefits the world that there's now going to be all this more content, except obviously my content's really good and the world really needs to see it. So that's my justification. So I think it's interesting. I feel like mine is, and I feel like what we need is, we need kind of practical, what do we do today and tomorrow type stuff. And I think it does need to be linked to what we have to invest, because this week I thought I was missing the boat entirely. I thought I wasn't going to get the opportunity to get done the stuff that I committed to doing. I found 40 minutes today, and I managed to pull out what I think is an absolute peach. But it's only by chance. But I think what it needs to be is, it needs to be, okay, if we've got 2 hours each, I know you're investing more time, and I'm just busy at the moment. Like, weirdly, I'm traveling now, but I've got more time probably in the next 2 weeks than I've had in the last 10 days. Yeah, it needs to be related to what it is that we're prepared to invest. Do you want to see what I've done?
100%.
So what I'm going to show you, because I kind of brushed over it last week, is the brand stuff that I got last week, and then what I've done with it this week to kind of move it on a little bit. So if I share my screen, because I did a little bit more, I think, on the targeting, and I did a little bit on the brand. So if I want to share a screen, do I want to share a full screen? I don't know which one of those things are the right things. Let's just show my entire screen, and I will just go full. Right, so that's chat. And then that's DeepSeek. So let's go with DeepSeek first. Okay, and I haven't prepared this. So like I showed you last week, it's not actually sharing anything, is it? Screen 2. There you go, screen 2. So the nice thing about DeepSeek being on a browser is I can zoom in and make it really huge. So as we go through this, so I looked at audience targeting last week. So it was SME seeking operational efficiency, and the types of businesses, tech curious, and then it gave me some content themes and some content strategy, branding and channel identity. And we spoke about the names last week, growth and marketing. I got to the point where I asked it for some specific, bear with me. This is a frustration that I have, is that I don't feel like this is very usable, what it's given me. like without doing the work that you've done, downloading it, putting it into another thing, then it feels like this isn't very accessible. That's what it feels like. So I've got some stuff here. So the demographic, so it feels to me like there's people who are on it. We can't help those people, they're gone. It feels to me like we're interested in the next wave. And according to this, the next wave are the early pragmatists. So these are people aged 35 to 55, less tech native. They're going to be traditional SMEs, small business enterprises, retailers, local services businesses, corporate professionals, trainers, HR, etc., agencies, marketing, PR firms. Because those jobs are going away. It's given me some psychographics similar to what you've come up with. Is AI secure? Is it reliable? I don't have time to do it. How does this apply to my industry? And then something about how to reach them. And then the late majority, which we're not interested in. So how to target these guys. Yeah, this is cool. We know about this stuff. There's some more stuff here about brand, which was the colors that we didn't like last week. Because I asked it specifically, gaps in the market is exactly like you say. There's too many people flying the flag for it. There's not enough people actually, I don't think, demonstrating how you get value out of it. So when we come to key takeaways, next steps, so deeper into our target market. So now it's saying the core audience demographics, job roles and security, small business owners and operators, industries, professional services, marketing agencies, consultants, e-commerce, healthcare, private clinics, local retail. I think if we were to target large enterprises, they're going to be the slowest adopters of this because they're going to have a world of pain getting this through onto their networks and stuff. And I know people who are working in businesses who are already building their own AI, so they don't have to use these public services. So these are mid-career professionals. So it's business owners of like 1 to 50 employees, mid-corporate professionals, but
Just
I think less
one
than.
thing, I think what's really interesting to me would be to help marketing agencies, because like now that I'm not in one anymore, I still remember all of the pains, and now it must be so scary being in an agency and just saying, how can I productize? So I would also maybe, just because I know that world very well, and so do you, I might put extra focus sometimes on that particular niche. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, but this is like the itch that won't go away, man. It was 2005 I started my business. I know it's shit and I can't leave it alone. Like I'm still producing content. Like I don't work in it anymore and I just can't leave it alone. So yeah, I'm not excited about that anymore. Anyway, but that's fine. They're on the list. 100% they're being impacted. So mid-career professionals in manufacturing, healthcare, education, financial services, who are operations manager, HR directors, marketing leads. Maybe if we're just delivering content, then these people will be excited by us, but I don't think they're going to be accessing it in the way that the rest of us are. More demographics, 30 to 55 years old. 60% will be college degree educated. They'll be using tools like Zoom, Slack, Canva. They might be working a little bit with ChatGPT, but lacking advanced skills. They're going to be urban, US, Canada, UK, Australia, Western Europe. They're not. They're going to come from India. Everyone is in India at the moment. Psychographics, save time, reduce cost, grow authority, fears, job displacement, falling behind peers, text complexity, content preferences. And then I asked it for some industries, and it's like law firms, accounting, consulting. I think that's true. Healthcare, education, local services, restaurants, HVACs, landscaping, those kinds of things. And then it gave me like an audience segmentation. So I think this is kind of more practical who we're actually going to want to be talking to. And then it gave me a persona, which is efficiency driven Emily. She is a 10-person marketing agency, age 42, located suburban USC with a business degree, uses QuickBooks, Canva, Slack, ChatGPT, goals reduce overhead costs by 20% in 6 months, automate client reporting to free up team time, pain points, wasting 10 hours a week on manual tasks, being overwhelmed by all the AI tool options, exactly like you said. Worried, will this disrupt my team's workload? Yes. Is it secure for client data? No. Are they going to be able to package your business in 6 months' time if you put everything in there? Yes, they are. And then it suggested we do a survey, and then it gave me some stuff about brand, which I didn't use, which we didn't like last week. So what I've got now is, what have I got now? what I've got now is, bear with me, that's the wrong way. It's this way. So what I did is I went to put that into ChatGPT because, like you, this is the one I know the most. So I put in a lot of stuff. I didn't put in a lot of stuff. I asked, oh, this is quite good though. Okay, this is not very useful. This is images I was creating for today's presentation, which I'm absolutely in love with. So I said, oh yeah, so where do we get on this? Right, we're seeing a lot of this. Okay, here. What is the best AI to develop a brand? Very simply, I had 40 minutes. I thought I had half an hour. So it says the best idea for the best AI for developing brands depends. If it's strategy and positioning, it's chat. If it's logo and visual identity, it's tools like Luca, Logo AI, or Brandmark.io. If it's brand naming, it's Namelix or Squad Help. If it's brand voice and messaging, it's Jasper AI or Copy AI. If it's brand style and content creating, it's Canva and Adobe. If it's full service AI branding suites, it's Designs.ai. I didn't know these things. And then it gave me recommendations for serious brand development, which I thought, that's good information. And then I just said, can you give me a brand guide for an irreverent AI content and education-based business called Faked Up? That's targeting marketing. So I took this from the other thing. This is a persona. I put all of this in. And this is what it came up with. So it says brand guide for Faked Up, brand essence, taglines, brilliantly broken, smarter solutions for the rest of us. Tone, irreverent, clever, approachable, bluntly honest. Personality, smart but not smug, playful but practical, disruptive but not chaotic, anti-fluff, pro-action. I mean, that's me in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah.
The targeting audience, which we know about, the psychographics we know about, the persona, the visual identity. So it also came, like DeepSeek, back with a glitch core meets minimalist bold. It gave us some different typographies. Anton or Babus knew I didn't have time to check out those. Body, inter or pop-ins. Maybe this will be my job for next week. And then it gave us some colors. So I don't know if you remember, but last week it was electric blue, a charcoal color. So two of those are right. And this is giving us a glitch. Two of those are the same, and signal red. Last week it also gave us like a bright pink and a green. But the neon blue and the deep charcoal are the same. Interesting. So voice and messaging, here's what we see. Here's how we automate without breaking your team. Not demanding, boring, blah, 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 blah. So some brand statements. You don't need a PhD to use AI. You need a bullshit filter. That's us. Think of us like duct tape for your broken workflows with the lasers. We teach AI like it's a toaster, not a time machine. And then I said, can you give me a visual representation of what the brand could look like? And this was its first attempt. I don't know why ChatGPT is creating every image exactly the same twice, especially since someone told me about 3 months ago every image takes the same amount of energy as it does to charge a smartphone. So I don't know why it's using both of those. So I didn't particularly enjoy this. I don't know if this is the colors they were talking about. And then I had a little bit of input, and I said, how would this look with a 70s disco type font and with all the letters lowercase except for the AI? And it came up with this, which is obviously faked up. And I said, that looks great, but you have capitalized the wrong letters. It should be faked up. And it came back, are you ready? With this.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Isn't it cool? Thing is, I think this is a thing. I think this is a thing. Have you seen the meme where the guy's like, no, 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 like on his keyboard, and then the AI goes, did you mean further to our conversation on Tuesday the 16th in the delightful blah, 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 blah. And he's like, and we're looking at the logo again. So what I was saying when I got excited is I won't do the actions again, but the guy's like, that's what I want. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't say that because he's not capable of speech anymore. And I feel like this is what AI is going to do. So when I use it to come up with likenesses of famous people that I'm quoting in my decks, sometimes it doesn't look very like the person. But if it's the best instance that it's given me, then I might just go with it. Do you know what I mean? If it's someone like Voltaire from the 18th century, or if it's someone like, I don't know, Henry Ford from the actual 18th century, then I might go with it.
You're not getting it off Henry Ford's Instagram, that's for sure.
No, well, 100%, yeah. But then people that I'm trying to get representations of who are more current and I know what they look like better, they don't look like that. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to lower our expectation and start just loving what AI gives us, or just accepting what AI gives us is amazing. But I think that's great. I think that's absolutely great. I think that could be our brand. I don't know what those colors are because I'm colorblind. But is that pink
It's
and
it's like
green?
it's like pink and mustard yellow.
Yeah, so it's not a million miles away from what DeepSeek gave us last week, in terms of the colours, not what they've given us this week. Yeah. And then I kind of like a steampunk thing, so I tried again and that was junk. And then I asked it for a mock-up of what a website looked like, and that's all right, you know. So yeah, but I think I spent 40 minutes on today and I felt like I'd failed. And I was really happy when I found 40 minutes to get something done. But I think I've won the AI lottery this week. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, we can stick with that brand and try it out and see what people think once we launch it up. I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool, 70s vibe. It's got a funny name in it. Reminds you of that 70s show, which was also comedic. We're not exactly the
Yes.
most serious people, so yeah, let's go for it.
I quite like it. Okay, so I'm going to copy that.
I love that
And
you like it and you can't see the colors. It's hilarious.
no, I do know that they are colours. I don't see in black and white. I just don't know what colours they are.
I
That's the
know, I
thing.
know, it's so funny.
Um, and are they the same? And maybe they're not the colours that we want. Maybe we need to change the colours. But then I think we might have to employ somebody to do that, because if we ask it to change the colours, it's going to give us something awful. Like I asked it for a steampunk version, and it just gave us something else that was just completely not good at
What,
all.
what's cool on the same brand thing is when I was coming up with the strategy with it, it said we should have a listener segment, which is called like fail mail, and it still has the
Yes.
FAI, and it's like fail mail. So people email us with, or however they want to contact us with their failures in AI, and
Yeah.
then we look into that. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. I think that's really cool as well. I think I'm not adverse to the idea that we might be selling education and community at some point in the future. But I think we need to get really focused on what we do now. Like, we haven't
Yeah.
posted anything yet, so we need to make sure that happens. I think and then I think we need to come up with, like, if I've got 2 hours to get something done this week on this, what should I do? It needs to be very actionable type stuff, which DeepSeek gave me last week. The action it suggested was that we message 20 people each on LinkedIn. And I think that's an eminently good idea, because then you 20 people, me 20 people, Panos 20 people, 60 people then know that it's going on at least. Do you know what I mean? And they will be feeding us with real world. This is exactly how we're feeling about this. So the to-do was to target the people that it suggested, owners of those kinds of businesses, small, medium businesses, lawyers, da. So for me, it feels to me like if I were to get that to you as like a really quick action, target these people, here's the survey, that's something we could get done. And I think it's really important that we do leverage AI to do this. So when it was giving me those terrible logos, I was thinking, yeah, well, that's faked up. Let's go with that, because that says the same. Do you know what I mean? That says
Yeah.
I'm faked up. But then it came up with that, and that I think is a little peach. It might not be the right colours, but I think it's good enough, isn't it, for us? We're not in business. No one's paid us anything. We've been on this 3 weeks. We're about, well, if you weren't doing hundreds of hours a week on it, we'd be about
I'm
5
not.
hours in.
I did like 2 or 3 hours so far. It was only last time I spent so long because I got carried away. I
Okay.
learned like just 1 or 2 hours and that's it. So I'm
Yes.
spending a lot of time learning AI, but not for this podcast.
Okay, super cool.
I kept to the time.
And I think that should, and I think maybe we should set 2 hours a week. We've got 2 hours to get something done, and then we'll demonstrate what we're getting done in 2 hours. What I'll tell you now is I ran a marketing company for 9 years, and it took me 7 years to come up with a logo that I was happy with. And I'm happy with this. And this isn't been a business for a second. So there's no two ways about it. We are definitely moving faster with AI than we possibly could any other way. So the question then is, how are we going to spend our couple of hours? It makes eminent sense to me that we message 20 people each on LinkedIn. Are you happy to do that? Okay, good. There's work that needs to be done, editing and posting, isn't there? So does somebody, I mean, I could source, because I know how to get the clips. I know how to identify the clips.
Well, 1 second. The reason we chose this tool, Riverside, you can stop
Is
screen
because
sharing
it
if you
does
want,
that.
is because it does that. So I think for now, if we're going balls deep into the AI, right, we need we need the actual logo that's usable and like a nice
Yep.
tagline, which can then be used on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever channels we're going to have. And then we just need to trust in Riverside's AI to extract the content and start posting it. And ideally, that should be built in some form of AI. But maybe what we're saying is maybe our challenge is just finalize the brand and make the channels and ask the 20 questions. And then once we have like 4 episodes, then next week's challenge will be figure out the content scheduler and automating, like getting the content out of Riverside and into it, or I just do it manually and that's my 2 hours.
Yeah, but I think the point is that we find tools to do the stuff, like to meet the
Yeah.
challenges that we're facing. I think that's the thing. And I think the thing that you said that's most true is we need to start trusting it, because what I do, and I think what you do, I can stop sharing this, can't I now? I think what I do, and what I definitely do, I don't need to attribute this to you, is I get in my own way, because I'm never happy enough with stuff and I always want it to be better. And I do that a lot. I don't know how to stop sharing. I can't stop sharing.
I'm going to aim to
Okay,
have
good.
like a zero emotional attachment to this brand and to this thing and just be clear, this is purely an experiment. Either follow or don't. It's up to you. Like for me, this is like a live lab. Like I don't think anyone's going to watch
Yes,
this whole episode either because it's just us rambling. But if they can see this is what
yes.
we started with and this is what we ended with, cool. And then maybe there's some value there.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm happy with that as well. But I do think what we need to do is trust the AI and not get in our own way, because we will make this a full-time job. I definitely will. You definitely will. Let's not do that. Let's just say 2 hours a week. We have some challenges. We see if it comes through. For me, AI's won this week. Like, there's no two ways about it. Your
Me
strategy is
too.
great. The stuff it's given us in the direction in terms of the brand and actually coming up with a logo is mental. So I think this week AI has won. I kind of like this format because there was something happened. Apple came out this week, didn't they? And they said AI actually isn't reasoning anything, and they did some tests or something, so they proved that. So it might be worth like having a conversation about something that's happened that's noteworthy that week and what we think the ramifications of it might be, and then look at each of our challenges and how we've done or how AI has done, and maybe that's the format. What do you think?
I like it. Yeah, let's do it.
Good. All right. And I'll be less animated next week. I don't know why hitting my pad here stopped the recording. I don't know how that happened. I don't know why that
AI
happened.
is anti-violence.
Yeah, maybe it's a pacifist. Okay, super cool. So I will get you this copy of the. Yeah. So that's our commitment this week. Nail down the brand. Get those questions out. What are we going to get AI to do? That's the question.
Good question. Okay, so 1 second. You're going to give me the AI is going to give us the questions. We humanly need to just reach out to 20 people we trust their opinion on because I don't want to plug in an AI and figure out all of that to ask just 20 people. And
No,
then we'll
yeah,
need to
it's given us the direction who they are. Yes.
Okay, so we need to collect that information, and then I think AI should decide what happens with the information. So we should just chuck it. Well, like I can create a prompt, and we'll chuck it into the AI and say, "Hey, this is your role. This is the context. Here's the resources, which is like, 40, 60 answers, whatever it is. Figure out the plan from there and what we do with this information."
Yeah, but I think it's only like 3 questions and it's only 20 people. It's only going to be 60 people if Panos is even involved. Okay, I think we need to push on and we need to, we're going to need a website maybe. Maybe one of us can look at the best, because I saw a thing that looked amazing the other day. And then, okay, so your thing is it's AI within Riverside that creates the clips. So your thing is to test Riverside and we'll see what the clips look like when it makes them. So that'll be your thing. My thing will be Maybe we're going to need a website. So maybe I'll see if I can make us a website in the next week using AI in 2 hours only, because I've seen
Okay.
something that looks amazing. Good plan?
Okay. So mine is to export the content of the last 3 episodes and just have like, okay, here's the content. Here's it's ready to go to
Well,
social media.
I think just go with episode 1. We should post episode 1 and then we should clip it up and see what the clips look like. That's what I think we
Yeah,
should
so
do.
no, what I mean with like I need you to finish the brand, but what I will do is I will export hopefully in 2 hours. Like I'm gonna spend 1 hour learning and then in 1 hour I can get episodes 1, 2, and 3. I can extract the clips and I can have everything organized like in a Google Drive, which is like, okay, here's our clips ready for each episode, and that's it. AI did it. Let's see how they work.
Okay, but I think if you get it done for just the first episode, that will be enough. And then we'll know
Okay.
how to do it for every episode going forward. Okay. All right. Super cool. Good. This has been fun. I'm sorry I screwed it
Yeah,
up.
super. That's okay. No one's gonna know. I'm gonna delete it.
All right. Super cool. All right, then, buddy. I will let you know what time I'm going to be available next week. And I look forward to seeing you then.
All right. Thank you. Bye
Cheers,
bye.
buddy. Take care. Bye.